There was a time when the moon was just a light in the night sky. No one knew what it really was. No one knew how far away it was. And no one could imagine that one day, human beings would actually stand on it. So people did what humans have always done when they don't have an answer. They told stories. In ancient Greece, there was a story about Selene, the goddess of the moon. And Selene fell in love with a beautiful young man named Endymion. There are different versions of their story, but in one ancient tradition, Endymion was placed into an eternal sleep, and Selene would visit him at night. She could see him, she could be close to him, but he would never wake up to meet her. Every night, she returned to the same sleeping man. And strangely, that old story feels very human, because love has always had something to do with distance. Sometimes you can see someone, but you can't reach them. Sometimes you can be close to someone and still feel like there is an entire world between you. And maybe that's part of what made the moon so fascinating. It was always there. We could see it from almost anywhere. We watched it change shape, disappear, and return again. But we couldn't touch it. We couldn't walk across it. We couldn't even know what it felt like to stand there. So, for thousands of years, the moon lived somewhere between reality and imagination. People gave it gods and goddesses. They connected it with love, beauty, mystery, time, and change. But eventually, something changed the story. We became curious, and curiosity is a strange thing. Sometimes, it doesn't let you leave a question alone. You can look at something beautiful and simply enjoy it. Or you can look at it and think, what's actually there? What would it feel like to stand on it? What would Earth look like from there? And could we really get there? For centuries, those questions belonged to dreamers. Then, in the 20th century, they became engineering problems. Scientists, engineers, pilots, mathematicians, and thousands of other people began working on something that once seemed almost impossible. A machine that could take human beings away from Earth, carry them across space, and bring them safely home. Then came 1969. On July 16th, Apollo 11 launched with 3 astronauts on board: Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins. They were heading toward the place humans had been looking at for thousands of years, the moon. 3 days later, they reached lunar orbit, but getting there was only part of the challenge. Armstrong and Aldrin climbed into the lunar module, Eagle. Michael Collins stayed behind in the command module, Columbia, orbiting the moon. Then Eagle began its descent. And suddenly, this wasn't a story anymore. There were no gods, no ancient legends, no impossible dreams. There were 2 human beings inside a small spacecraft trying to land on another world. The landing wasn't easy. Armstrong had to take manual control and guide Eagle away from a dangerous area covered with rocks. And when the spacecraft finally touched the surface, only a small amount of fuel remained. For the first time in human history, human beings were on the moon. A few hours later, Neil Armstrong climbed down the ladder. And when his foot touched the lunar surface, something that had lived only in human imagination became real. A human footprint was on the moon. Buzz Aldrin joined him soon after. They walked across a world that looked almost completely silent. They collected rocks. They took photographs. They set up scientific instruments. And above them was something they had known their entire lives, but had never seen quite like this. Earth, small, blue, and hanging in the darkness. Imagine looking back at your entire world and seeing it from the moon. Every person you know, every city, every ocean, every story humanity has ever told. All of it on that small blue planet. Maybe that view changed something, because reaching the moon didn't make humanity stop asking questions. It made us ask even more. What else is out there? What else don't we understand? What can the moon teach us? And where could we go next? That's the strange thing about knowledge. The more you discover, the more you realize how much you still don't know. So the story didn't end in 1969. We went back. And then we stopped going for a while. But the curiosity never really disappeared. More than 50 years later, in 2026, human beings are once again traveling around the moon. Artemis 2 carried 4 astronauts on a crewed journey around the moon and back to Earth. They didn't land this time, and that's important, because this isn't the end of the journey. It's another step, another question, another attempt to understand a place that has fascinated us for as long as we've looked at the night sky. And maybe this is where love comes back into the story. Because love and curiosity may have more in common than we think. When you truly love something, you want to know it. You notice the little things. You want to get closer. You want to understand what lies beneath the surface. And when something truly fascinates you, you don't want to stay far away from it forever. You want to reach it. Maybe that's why the moon has stayed in our imagination for so long. It was beautiful enough to inspire stories, and mysterious enough to make us search for answers. The ancient Greeks imagined Selene traveling through the night to see the man she loved. Thousands of years later, human beings built a spacecraft and traveled through that same darkness to see the moon up close. The stories changed. The technology changed. The world changed. But something stayed the same. We were still looking up, still wondering, still wanting to get closer. And maybe that's what this painting is really about. Not just the moon, not just love, but the distance between a dream and reality. For thousands of years, the moon was something we could only look at. Then someone asked a question. Then someone tried to find the answer. And eventually, we got there. But perhaps the most beautiful thing about reaching a distant place isn't always what you discover there. Sometimes, it's who you have beside you when you finally arrive. The two of them stand together beneath the earth. He looks at her. For a moment, neither of them says anything. Then he takes her hand, and slowly, he places a ring on her finger. She looks at it. Then she looks at him, and smiles. He pulls her closer. They hold each other beneath the light of Earth. And for one quiet moment, the moon isn't a place human beings crossed space to reach. It isn't a scientific mystery. It isn't a distant world. It's simply the place where two people found each other. And maybe, after all the questions, after all the distance, after everything it took for us to reach the moon, there is one thing we never needed science to explain: love.